This is Join Us in France, episode 73. Hello, I'm Annie, and today I'm going to give you some strategies for those of you who are taking a layover in Paris. Because when your time is very short, you need to strategize and make sure you do it just right. Today's show was inspired by a listener question that I'll play for you in just a minute. The question revolves around this. What amazing things can you do in Paris if you only have a few hours? Maybe you're on a layover. Maybe you have a few hours to kill before or after a business meeting. Maybe you need to wait for a friend. Well, don't waste that time. Make the most out of it. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do in this episode. And it turns out that if you're wondering about something, there are probably lots of other people also wondering the same thing. So please do the same thing Renee did. Ask your questions. How do you do that? You put on your Skype headphones or make sure your microphone is on your laptop and either go to joinusinfrance.com and on the right side you'll see a tab that says send voicemail, or you can just type you have to start with the www in this case, speakpipe.com/joinusinfrance with no spaces or anything. And then you click record and you talk. You only have 90 seconds, so try to get to the question kind of quickly. I want to say thank you to Matthew Piete for his donation. Your donations go to pay for the bandwidth and the equipment for this show and are very much appreciated. Thank you, Matthew. I put a lot of time into the show because I want to put out quality information about the country that I love. But I do get a great feeling when I see that you also appreciate this and say thank you by tipping your guide. You'll find the Tip Your Guide button on the right-hand side of the website. The other way you can show your appreciation for what I do is by making your Amazon purchases through the Join Us in France website. And that's totally anonymous. To do that, type joinusinfrance.com/Amazon in your browser, and it works in your phone too, wherever you start your Amazon purchases from, and click on your country flag. Whatever you buy from then on, Join Us in France gets a small commission. In the past few days, you've bought travel books that I've recommended, a lot of GoPro gear, memory cards for photography buffs, comics, even the Call of Duty video game. There's something for everyone there. Many other things that I'm not even talking about. It doesn't matter what you buy. Be it, toilet paper or camera equipment, Christmas gifts. If you land on Amazon via Join Us in France, they give us a small commission, and it does not cost you a penny more. So thank you for doing that. So now let's get to the meat of the subject, which is really interesting. And I had to do quite a bit of research because as a French person, when I go to Paris, I usually either drive in or I fly in, but a family member or a friend or somebody will pick me up, or it's for business, and in that case, I just take a taxi. So I had to spend some time looking into other possibilities that are also very good possibilities. So first thing first, how much time do you really need on your layover to do something interesting? Let me tell you how it works more or less. It takes about an hour to get out of the airport. So go through customs, pick up your luggage, find where you're going next. That's about 1 hour that you've lost right there. Then it takes about an hour to ride into the city. So that's 2 hours. Then to get back to your flight, if you're on a layover, you have another flight later. So to get back to the airport, you'll need another hour to get there. And also, you have to be there 2 hours early if you're flying out of Paris again. So if you have a 5-hour layover, all you're going to do is get out of the airport, go into the city, see absolutely nothing, turn around and go back, and chance missing your flight. So I really recommend that you don't do that. If you have 5 hours for a layover in Paris, it is not enough time, no matter what you do. Just walk around the terminal, do things within the airport. There's plenty to do, but don't plan on going into the city. If you have a 5-hour layover and you plan on taking a taxi, is it doable? I suppose it's easier, but it's still really tight. So I wouldn't do it even with taxis. Now, if you have 6 hours for your layover, I think that's the minimum. You're not going to get to do very much, but it's better than sitting at the airport, I think. And in this show, I will outline a plan that works for people that have between 6 and 9 hours. If you have more, obviously, you're in good shape. So for the most part, I'm going to be concentrating on people that have between 6 and 9 hours layover in Paris and give you some ideas of what you can go see in that time and how you get there. Okay, so let's get to Renee's question right now.
Hi, Elise and Annie. I have a question for you. My son, who is 17, and his friend, who's the same age, will be spending 3 weeks in France. They fly into Paris, but they get in around 10:30, and someone will be there to pick them up probably after 5 p.m. So knowing that they're going to be jet lagged, is there a place that you recommend that they can still enjoy Paris, yet still stay safe? I don't know how much luggage. Hopefully they'll travel light, or should they keep their luggage at the airport and then go do a little bit of exploring? So if you had a 17-year-old son and he had a few hours to kill, what would you recommend that they do? They do have lots of different interests. I know there's a coin museum that my son will want to see, but he could also see that later with friends. So those are my questions, and I look forward to hearing your answer. Thank you. I love your show.
Thank you, Renee. That was an excellent question. How about making the most of that first day of theirs in Paris? The first thing that you need to consider is, what do you do with your luggage? I think that if you have a few hours in Paris, you must check your luggage somewhere. Why? Because, going anywhere with luggage in tow is just not fun. Even if you're young and strong like these two young men, there are some caveats. There are people who can totally pull it off. I wouldn't do it. And here's why. If you hold on to your luggage, what you'll end up doing a lot is sit somewhere for most of the day and do very little. So you'll be hauling suitcases up and down the stairs. The Paris metro is not, I repeat, not luggage friendly. You will not find escalators most places, at most metro stations. Some of them have elevators, not all of them, and they're pretty well hidden, and you will be hoofing things up and down stairs quite a lot. So the metro or the RER, which is, it's a train, but I mean, it's very much like a metro, is not a good plan with luggage. So that's the first thing. You're not going to have fun if you have your luggage with you. The second thing is, you cannot get inside of most public places in Paris with suitcases. Imagine visiting New York. You try and get into the MoMA or something with your suitcase. Even if you just want to go to a shopping mall, if you go with suitcases, you're weird. The security guards are going to trail you. It's just bizarre if they let you in at all. So there are a few museums, like in the Louvre, they have a check area, and it's even free, but it's only for small items. If you have a carry-on size luggage, it is just fine. So if it's cabin luggage, yes, you could drop it off at the Louvre, for instance. Not everywhere, but the Louvre you could. At the Eiffel Tower, for instance, you cannot go up the Eiffel Tower with luggage of any sort. They won't even let you up. So the Louvre is an exception. Most places don't let you on with suitcases. The other exception is the bateau mouche. The beautiful little boats that do the rides along the river. I called them to ask specifically, and they said, yes, you can be let on with small luggage. So if you have just a smallish suitcase and a backpack or something like that, they'll probably let you on. You will have to haul it everywhere you go. They're not going to check it for you. They're just going to make you carry it and have it in people's way. And, it won't be fun, but it is possible on the bateau mouche. The other thing that you have to consider is, if you have your luggage with you, you are going to be attracting interest from the thieves and the pickpockets. And honestly, if you live in North America, for instance, or any place in the world where petty theft is not common, then you really have not trained yourself to be mindful at all times, because you don't have to where you live, and you'll be an easy target. You know, when I first moved back to France after 20 years away, I went shopping, grocery shopping with my sister, and casually I just left my purse in the shopping cart, and I turned my back for just a second to grab something, and she was all over me. She was like, "You never, ever, ever do that. You don't leave your purse in the shopping cart. It has to be on your person, zipped up at all times." That seemed like overkill to me, but really, she knows what she's talking about. She's lived here for a long time. Petty theft is the biggest problem you are likely to experience while in France. You will not get shot. You will not get mugged. You will not run into any big problem like that, but some clever people are going to be trying to get to your stuff. So don't haul it around. That's another reason. So if you're not going to be hauling your luggage around, how do you find a luggage locker in Paris? There are some, and you have two distinct choices. There are lockers at airports and train stations. Not all of them, but I'll give you a link on joinusinfrance.com/73. It'll take you some, to a list that's always updated of where there are lockers. So that would be a good way for you to find out. Now, let's consider how these lockers work. Train stations and airport, they are public lockers maintained by the public facility. You look for signs that say consigne, CONSIGNES, or consigne automatique. So the same word, CONSIGNES, automatic afterwards. Okay? So that's the French word for luggage locker. If it's translated into English at all, the sign in English will say left luggage, which is how they say it in England. I know in North America, I had never heard that expression. I had to check with an English friend, because that was just like, what is left luggage? I wondered if it was a mistake, a translation mistake, but it's not. So that's good to know. So you're going to have to look for signs that tell you about the consigne. Okay, very good. But an airport or a train station is a huge place. Is it going to be easy for you to find the lockers? Will you have to go up and down stairs? I don't know. I have no way to know. I don't know where you're going to land exactly. But you have to remember that back when they designed the Paris train stations, 200 years ago, or however long, maybe it was longer than that, accessibility was not a big consideration in their minds. So the lockers might be in the bowels of the train station and a little bit difficult to find. At CDG, at the airport, CDG, that's Roissy-Charles de Gaulle, is what French people call it. It's a little bit better than that. But if you're going to be checking at a train station, it's kind of hard. And again, if you go to joinusinfrance.com/73, I'll put a graphic on the site that shows you exactly where the lockers are at Charles de Gaulle Airport. And it's actually pretty close to where you catch the RER, the train into Paris. So that might be a possibility, but there are some other things to consider. Okay. If you're going to be using the public lockers, you must have a selection of euro coins with you for those lockers. Most likely, there will not be an employee there who can make change or take your credit card. Now, I was not able to verify that for every single place that has lockers in Paris, because they just don't give you a phone number. There's nowhere you can call. And I tried to call the airport, just the general number for the airport, and the woman was like, I don't know, like, what do you want? I don't know. Which was a fair answer. It was about what I was expecting anyway. So to be safe, you need to show up with euro coins, and not just that, but in different denominations, because it's around 10 euros to rent a locker, no matter where you do it. But it's not 10 euros exactly, or of course, that would be too simple. It might be 9 euros 40 or 9 euros 70 or some such like that. So you need exact change. And if you've just arrived in the country, most people don't have enough change in their pocket. And each locker is going to take one piece of luggage. You won't be able to, they're not big enough to put two pieces. So you're going to need quite a bit of change. So how do you make change? Well, if you show up in Paris and you have some time, which I don't believe you do because you're on a layover, then you can go and withdraw some money at an ATM, and then you can start spending for a pack of gum and, a pastry or something, and they'll give you change. Sure, but again, if you don't have time, you're not going to spend time doing that. So that's one problem. And I don't believe that any bank, at least in the US, will provide you, they can order euro bills for you in advance, but they're not going to be able to order coins, I don't think. You could try it, but I don't think so. For the public lockers at train stations and at the airport, there are no reservations possible. You just show up and you see if there's something there that you can rent for the day. Is it going to be big enough for your suitcase? I'll give you the standard measurements. In inches, it's 32 by 23 by 15. So if you show up with huge luggage, bigger luggage than that, it's, that's not so big. I think that's actually a medium size suitcase. 32 by 23 by 15. Okay? So is it going to fit? Is it going to be room? Well, you'll find out. There's no way for me to tell you. So no reservations possible. That can be a problem. But on the other hand, if it's the kind of locker you just find at the train station or at the airport and you show up with coin and you take one or you don't, well, you haven't lost any money. If it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work. You end up hauling your suitcases, which I wouldn't be happy with, but there you go. Okay, so the other possibility, which is a little bit easier in my opinion, it's up to you to decide, is to use one of the private city lockers in Paris. There's one big company called City Lockers. I'm not sure if they're a chain or what, but they have 4 locations in Paris. And these locations are not at the train station. They are not, in a maze somewhere that will take you forever to find. It's on Paris streets with an address and everything. So to me, that feels easier. Okay, there's no question that you'll find it eventually. So I'll give you the link again on joinusinfrance.com/73. It's called citylocker.paris. It's www.citylocker.paris. Their website is kind of strange, and on the website it looks like they're listing 13 addresses, but if you look carefully, there's only 4 of them, really. There's only 4 street addresses. They just list them like this. For Notre Dame, they're also going to say it's Saint-Michel. So there's one listing for that address as Notre Dame and another one for Saint-Michel. Well, it's nearby, but it's one location. I have never used city lockers, and I want to make it clear that, they're not sponsoring the show in any way. I don't know these people at all. I just looked at their website and called them. On the phone, it seemed like a reliable, legit service. They answer their phone very quickly during business hours, and I tried. Good luck getting a human, at the train station or at the airport. They say they have people that speak English as well as 6 other languages, so they sound good to me. I must admit, that's what I would do. For that service, you must reserve online in advance. There will be no refunds if you change your mind or if you can't find the place, okay? But finding the place shouldn't be difficult because it looks easy to find to me. You can read their FAQ for details, and I'll give you the link for that. The other advantage is there is no need to find change or coins. It's all paid via credit card online. Once they have your reservation online, they send you 2 codes. One, because you select which location you're going to be dropping off at which day, okay? And they send you 2 codes. One to open the door, the front door of the place, and 2 to open the locker they've assigned to you. And that's going to be on your phone when you arrive in Paris. I think that's a pretty good way to go. So again, The maximum size is 32 by 23 by 15, so don't go there with a huge trunk. And the location that I'm going to recommend above the others is on Rue des Bernardins. I'll put a link on the website so you can see it. It's pretty close to Notre Dame. It's actually on the other side of the river from Notre Dame. It's easy to find. It's close to something very interesting, so that's the one I'm going to recommend. So here's the plan for Renée's teens, but I think it works for other people too. They get off the plane at Charles de Gaulle, and they get on the RER-B. Now, details on how to do that, I've already talked about that in episode 71, so I won't go over it again, but go to joinusinfrance.com/71. You can see the show notes, you can see the documents that I linked to. That'll make it pretty easy for you. And on the RER-B, you get off at Saint-Michel-Notre-Dame. That's the name of the station, Saint-Michel-Notre-Dame. The first thing you should do when you stop at Saint-Michel-Notre-Dame is to go to a newsstand and get a small booklet of Paris maps. I'll scan the one I like to use on joinusinfrance.com/73. But it doesn't have to be that one. They're pocket-sized. They have all the list of all the city streets. It's pretty thorough. They have maps, and it's well done. And it's important for you to have that in your pocket, even if you have Google Maps, even if you're going to have a data plan. Because let me tell you, Google Maps are super slow to load, and sometimes they are super wrong. Usually they're not super wrong, but sometimes it is so far off. Like the other day, I tried to, I wasn't sure exactly, I knew exactly the street in Toulouse I was going to, but I wasn't sure where that street number was exactly on that long, long street. So I put it in the GPS and I told it to take me. The GPS wanted me to go all the way out of the city, like hundreds of kilometers. And I was telling it was in Toulouse. It knew it was in Toulouse, but for some reason, it was buggy and it thought I was supposed to go way, way out of the way. So have a paper map, please. It'll cost you like, I think I paid $6.50 for mine, and they're at all the newsstands. Please invest. That's very important. Okay. I suppose that these boys will have a credit card with them, Renee, but send them with some euro cash in hand. Bills, small denomination bills, like 20 euros or smaller will be accepted anywhere they go. Because sometimes newsstands and ticket booths, they don't take plastic. So even if they have a credit card, send them with a little bit of cash. How much cash? I don't know, 100 euros maybe. That'll last them for, if they pay for most of what they need with a credit card and just save the 100 euros cash for things where they can't use credit cards, it'll be fine. The third thing is where you get off at the RER at Saint-Michel-Notre-Dame. Where you get off is called Quai Saint-Michel. Quai, it means riverbanks. So quay, you might say in English, but I don't know if a quay is the same. Anyway, Quai Saint-Michel. And you walk towards Notre Dame. Okay, you can see it. It's huge. You just walk towards Notre Dame, but do not cross the river. You keep walking along that sidewalk. The street will change name. After 100 meters or so, it'll be called Quai Montebello. And, we do that in France. We change street names right in the middle of an intersection, or sometimes nothing. There's like the street change name. Why? Because. Just so they stay on that sidewalk. They keep walking straight towards Notre Dame until Notre Dame is behind them. And then when they get to the bridge just past Notre Dame, they will turn right, and they are now on Rue des Bernardins, where the locker is. And the lockers, you go down that Rue des Bernardins, just maybe 20 meters, and the lockers are going to be right there. The whole thing between the RER train station and the lockers is 550 meters. So 550 meters is more or less 550 yards. Not quite, but just about. Okay? So it's not very far. You probably will have to do the stairs at the train station. But besides that, it's going to be pretty painless. Once you've got your luggage dropped off, well, you're free. You're free to go. And you have to decide what you want to do. And there are so many possibilities because right there you're right in the heart of Paris and there are so many things you could do. But let me suggest a few, okay, within a short walk. And I'm not going to tell you about all of them because these are just the big ones. You could find out about smaller things by yourself. Obviously, I told you, you're walking right past Notre Dame. To me, that's obvious. Go see it. You could go see it. We talked about Notre Dame in detail in episodes 4, 5, and 6 of the show. You could also walk around the Île de la Cité. It so happens that at that place in Paris, the River Seine splits into, and there are a couple of little islands in the middle of the river. That's why it's called Île, which means island. You could walk around the two islands pretty well. We talked about that in episode 2 of the show. The other thing that's very close to you at that point is the Quartier Latin, the Latin Quarter. And on episode 7, Elise gave a very good walking tour that she gives to her customers when she goes to the Latin Quarter. So that's joinusinfrance.com/7, and there's a map and everything. So you could use that. Or you could go visit the Cluny Museum. The Cluny is a museum of medieval times in France, and we talked about that in episode 8. The other thing that's really close to you and would be, I think, quite appealing to young men or anybody, really, is the Sainte-Chapelle, which was the church that was built especially for the French king, and we talked about that in episode 3 of the show. You also have La Conciergerie, which is very close to Sainte-Chapelle, just right next to it. We haven't done an episode on that. I probably wouldn't go to that unless you're really, really interested in the history of French kings. But since I'm talking about these two young men, I think as young guys, what they should do is walk up the tower of Notre Dame and see Paris from up high. Especially if the weather is good, and since they're going in very soon in June, chances are it'll be good enough anyway. You can get into Notre Dame Cathedral for free, no charge to get in there, but you do need tickets to walk up the tower. But it is so worth it. Don't skip on that. It's lovely. So you get your tickets outside of the cathedral. As you stand facing Notre Dame, you walk to the left around the cathedral, and right at the bottom of at the foot of the cathedral, you'll find the ticket booth. Or you might see the line. Some days you see the line from quite a distance, I'm afraid. The line to get into Notre Dame there's usually a line, even in the dead of the winter, but it moves fast. The line for the ticket booth to go up the tower, yeah, you could be there a while, but honestly, it's worth it, and especially if they arrive early enough. I suppose coming from North America, they're going to be landing in Paris between 8 and 10, right? That's when most flights land in Paris. So by the time they get into the city, it'll be noon. I think it's a good time to go get your tickets to Notre Dame, to the bell tower. Now, the fee to go up the tower is €8.50, but since they are 17, if they were European, they could get in for free. But they'd still need a ticket, but they could get in for free. So they go up to the booth and they say, I'm 17 and I'm from England. And maybe they'll get a free ticket. Who knows? You know, it used to be that people made you prove that the age of your kids, but anymore they don't do that anymore. They just take your word for it. If you say you're 17 and you kind of look like an adult, but you say you're 17, go have the ticket, have fun. You know, they're not too worried about it. But past 18, of course, you're out of luck. So, drop off the luggage, go up the tower of Notre Dame. You get absolutely amazing views from up there. It is so nice and so worth it. So they're young guys, they can do it. You know, it's good, and it'll keep them moving too, which is good because it'll help their jet lag. Once they're done with Notre Dame and the tower, and of course go in the church too, look inside, it's beautiful. Take a nice long walk. I can think of 2 destinations for a nice walk right around that area that are very nice. First is a street called Rue des Barres, Barres. It's pretty close to Notre Dame. It's so lovely. And now they have the booklet, right? So they can find it easily. The street is very old. They have a record of it in 1250. And at number 2 of Rue des Barres today, you'll find a really nice restaurant called Chez Julien, sorry. I haven't eaten there, so I can't recommend it, and it might be pretty expensive. There's also a nice church, Saint-Gervais. It's a beautiful street. It's very tranquil, right in the heart of Paris. It's beautiful. The other destination they can try, not too far from Notre Dame. It's kind of 1 kilometer away. It's in the Marais, and we talked about that in episode 27, but it's Rue Saint-Antoine, Saint Anthony, it's just spelled French. And this is the kind of place where they will find all sorts of food stores. It's a hustling and bustling street. There are bakeries, there's cheesemongers, there's all sorts of really, really good stuff. And so what I recommend is that they go to Rue Saint-Antoine, enjoy the ambiance and the atmosphere, take some photos, whatever, buy some cheese, buy some baguette, buy a drink, and go enjoy your picnic at the Place des Vosges, which is nearby. Place des Vosges is a beautiful big square with a garden and benches, and it'll be a royal picnic for a couple of American teens, and I think they will enjoy that. Now, before I move on to other possibilities, let me say a word about jet lag. The one thing I have found that works is that when you arrive at your destination, stay in the sun as much as possible. If you arrive in daytime, walk around in the sun, be outside, be active as much as you can the whole day. And of course, you can be tired, but for these two boys, they're 17. It's okay. They can do it. There's all sorts of remedies that people peddle, homeopathy, whatever. I don't think these things make any difference. What makes a difference is being in the sun, because your body will be like, oh, it's daytime. It's not weird. Should be night, but it's daytime. Okay, it's daytime. And you'll adjust much faster that way. The worst thing you can do, in my opinion, is show up in Paris, get off of the airplane at 10 or whatever, and then go straight to your hotel and take a nap. That is the worst thing you can do, because then you'll be up all night and you'll be like, Paris is not that fun at night. Well, if you don't know anybody to go party with, of course it's not that fun. So stay up as much of that day as you can and be active, and you'll love it. So now let me go through some specific activities that I would choose if I had a certain amount of time in Paris. If I had 6 hours in Paris, this is what I would do. I would, at CDG, at the airport, I would go to the RER, to the train. As you can see with the graphic on the website, episode 73, the RER and the lockers are pretty close to one another at the airport. So go see if you can use the lockers. You only have 6 hours. If you manage the lockers, great. But if you don't, you're really stuck with your luggage for the whole day, because you only have 6 hours. There's no time for you to go somewhere else to find lockers somewhere else. So in that case, either way, you get on the RER-B, which is the only one that goes to the airport, and you go one or two ways. You have to decide. You either go to Notre Dame, which is a straight shot on line B, 13 stops, it'll take 45 minutes or so. Or you change at Notre Dame, you change to the RER-C, which will take you to the Eiffel Tower. So when you in the station, RER station, when you're changing trains, you're switching from RER-B to RER-C, and you're looking to the Pontoise direction. Pontoise is Pontoise. And 4 stops later, you are at Champ de Mars, Tour Eiffel, stop, Eiffel Tower. Yeah? Okay, so that trip between the airport and Eiffel Tower, because you have a change, it'll be 1 hour and 15 minutes on average. Check your watch. Getting to the Eiffel Tower is an extra half an hour. If you think it's worth it, do it. Otherwise, go straight to Notre Dame. Either way, you're going to be getting out of the public transportation. Take a quick look very quickly, maybe snap a few photos, and you need to start moving back to the airport because you need 3 hours to get back to the airport and be there 2 hours before your flight, right? So you can do all the procedure at the airport. So it's really, 6 hours is really, really tight. All you have time to do is go to the surface at either Notre Dame or the Eiffel Tower, take a very, very brief look, and then 3 hours before your flight is due to leave, head back. So it is very tight. Okay, if you have 7 hours, then we're talking. You know, you can hang out at the Eiffel Tower a little bit or Notre Dame. Maybe stay for half an hour. You don't have time to go up the tower or do anything like that because there are lines. But you can see, you can, I don't know, have a coffee at Notre Dame or something like that, or at the Eiffel Tower. Okay. Now, if you have 8 hours, now we're starting to be comfortable. 8 hours is a comfortable layover in Paris. You probably will not have time to go up the Eiffel Tower, even with 8 hours, because the lines are long sometimes. And remember, at the Eiffel Tower, you have 2 lines. You have the line to buy your tickets, and you have the line to get on the elevator. And they're different lines. So sometimes you can see visually that the lines are pretty short. And if they're pretty short, it might take you, last time I was there, I think it was May 31st or something, or maybe May 20th, 29th or something, around those days. And the line was short. It took us 20 minutes total to get the ticket and be going up. So once you're up the Eiffel Tower, you probably will look around and linger and all that for at least half an hour. An hour is better. So it takes too long. If you only have 8 hours, again, you need to start heading back 3 hours before your flight leaves. That's pretty tight. But the other thing that you can do at the Eiffel Tower is get on the Bateau Mouche. If you have 8 hours, that is a pretty good possibility. The Bateau Mouche are these flat-bottom boats that will take you up and down the river Seine and along a whole lot of beautiful, famous monuments and all that. They cost more or less 15 euros. Sometimes, depending on the time of year you go, there might be just 1 departure per hour. Higher season, it's 2 departures per hour. Sometimes there's a bit of a line to buy a ticket. Sometimes when you get to the booth, they say, oh, the next sailing is booked up. You have to wait for the next one. So, but you'll see all of that. They put signs up. You'll see all of that. So if you have 8 hours and it looks like the line is too long at the Eiffel Tower, what you can do is cross the street carefully. People are crazy there. And go towards the river, and you'll see where the boats are, and go see what they can offer you. It's a good possibility. The Bateau Mouche are a great option for people who don't have a lot of time in Paris, especially because if you have not managed to check in your bags, remember, they'll take a small amount of luggage on. They'll let you take it on with you. You'll have to haul it, but you can take it with you. I did call. I'm not sure if I told you that or not before. I called the Bateau Mouche to make sure. So yes, they will let you do that. The Bateau Mouche rides start from several places in Paris. Eiffel Tower is one. Notre Dame is another. And no matter where you start, the ride is about 1 hour, and it'll go through pretty much the same sites. Not in the same order, but you'll get to see the same stuff. You'll see the Orsay and Louvre museums, Notre Dame, the Eiffel Tower. You get to see the banks of the Seine River, which are really lovely. You get to go under all these beautiful, beautiful bridges. It's a fun ride. You see a lot in a short amount of time. It's 15 euros. I think it's well worth it. And it's very relaxing, especially if you've been traveling. It's something, hopefully you won't fall asleep. But you could. It's possible. But it's a very relaxing, nice way to see Paris when you have a very short time. Now, if by any chance you were not able to check your luggage at the airport and you decide to go to Notre Dame, keep in mind that they do not let you bring in suitcases at Notre Dame. So in that case, all you could do, and it's good enough, but let's be clear, you could not get into the church. You could walk around the Ile de la Cité for an hour, or maybe an hour and a half, depending on how well you did on timing, and track back. That would be pretty much it. And go from there. The lockers CDG are in Terminal 2, Level 4 of the TGV RER train station. And it's in front of the Sheraton Hotel. I'm not sure how well you see it. I've never gone looking for it. So if you want to see the Eiffel Tower, of course, again, to use those public lockers at CDG, you need Eurocoins. Otherwise, it's not going to be possible. So the plan is, you want to see the Eiffel Tower, you drop off your luggage at the airport lockers, you get on the RER-B, get off at Saint-Michel, and then change to the RER-C in the direction of Pontoise, Pontoise, and you go 4 stops until Champ de Mars, Tour Eiffel. The whole trip should take about an hour and 15 minutes. You could book your tickets online for the Eiffel Tower and save you one line, right? You only have to queue up for the elevators. That's one way to go if you're quite sure you're going to manage. But one thing to consider with the Eiffel Tower is that if you decide to use your layover time to go to the Eiffel Tower, there isn't that much else that you can do quickly right around the Eiffel Tower. It is a massive area, and going anywhere from there takes a while. So, yes, you can do the Bateau Mouche right there. That's another possibility, but that's about it. At the Eiffel Tower site, it's either walking around, looking at it from the bottom, or going up, or taking a boat ride. And I'm going to now mention the last possibility. If you have an 8 hours or more layover in Paris, the other thing you could do is go to the Tour Montparnasse. Montparnasse. Okay? It's a big tower, and it's maybe 2 kilometers as the crow flies between the Montparnasse Tower and the Eiffel Tower. You can take beautiful pictures of Paris from that tower. It costs 15 euros to get up there. The view is fantastic and includes the Eiffel Tower. Unlike the view when you're on the Eiffel Tower, clearly you don't have it in your scenery. But if you like taking photos, I think you would do better from the Tour Montparnasse than from the Eiffel Tower. But it depends on what you want to take pictures of, really. So how do you get to Tour Montparnasse? Well, here's one more transportation possibility. I have not done this myself, but I hear all sorts of good things about it. There's this service by Air France called Les Cars Air France. Now, this is kind of funny because un car in France, and this is like a French tip of the week. I forgot to do it last week, so I'll do 2 this week. Les cars in France, C-A-R-S, it's not a car, it's a bus in France, okay? So Les Cars Air France is a shuttle service between the airport and Paris proper. They have 4 lines that take you different places. Unfortunately, none of them will take you near Notre Dame, which I think is a problem. But they will take you near l'Étoile, so the Champs-Élysées, or they will take you to the Tour Montparnasse, which is the one I would recommend right here. This bus service that Air France runs gets fabulous reviews online. I have not used them. A return ticket is more or less 30 euros between CDG and the city center. You can buy your ticket online, or you can pay the bus driver, cash only, but you can pay the bus driver. And there's a bus every 20 to 30 minutes from the CDG Terminal 1 or Terminal 2AC or Terminal 2BD or Terminal 2EF, and I'll put a link on the website, episode 73, so you can see this. And where you catch it? Well, you walk to the curb outside of the terminal and you look for signs, because it will depend entirely of where you are, but it's called Les Cars Air France. Okay? And I'm going to mention just one more thing that you could do in Paris without having a destination. You stop at Notre Dame, which is really the easiest. If you're going to take the RER, that's the easiest thing to do because it's a straight line. It's same line. RERB will stop at Notre Dame for you. And you could get off there. And if you've seen Notre Dame before, well, maybe you just want to walk along the Seine River, or maybe you want to take a bateau mouche from there, or, and you can walk along the river and see all of these beautiful, beautiful bridges. So as you get off at Notre Dame, you'll walk away from Notre Dame. So you have the cathedral to your back, and you'll walk past the Pont des Arts, which is the footbridge where they removed all the love locks recently. You also walk past Pont du Carrousel, which is pretty cool too. The Pont Royal is next. And then the Musée d'Orsay, so the Orsay Museum, will be on your left. And then the next bridge after that is called Passerelle del Solferino. So there's lots to see along the banks of the Seine River. They've been transformed recently. They've removed cars. They've added activities. For kids, I think that would be a good possibility. So to recap, if your layover in Paris is 7 hours, you can just look a little bit. 6 hours, you can look, but really, really quickly. 8 hours, you can plan on doing an activity. You can have time to do one activity. And the other thing that you have to remember from this show is that there are at least 3 good ways to get into Paris from Charles de Gaulle Airport. One is the RER train. The other is the shuttle buses, les cars Air France. Or, of course, you have taxis. Are taxis going to save you time? I'm not sure. It really depends on traffic and the time of day you go. Mostly, if you try to grab a taxi by 9:30 or 10 a.m., it's not going to be the worst time of day in Paris. It would be much worse at 8:30 a.m. But Paris is Paris. It's a huge city. There's lots of cars. So taking a taxi doesn't necessarily save you a whole lot of time. Okay, that's it for the show today. Renee, I hope I've inspired your boys to check their luggage and then go up the tower at Notre Dame and then go have a picnic on the Rue des Vosges. I think they would absolutely love that. And to end the show, let me do a French tip of the week to help you find your lockers, of course. I had to do that. So you say, je cherche les consignes pour mes bagages. Pouvez-vous m'aider? Je cherche les consignes pour mes bagages. Pouvez-vous m'aider? And this is particularly helpful if you're going to be choosing the train station or the airport lockers, because I'm pretty sure you're going to need help finding them. All right, that's it for today. I hope this show has been chock full of good information for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading, and I'll talk to you next week. Au revoir. This brings us to the end of another Join Us in France travel podcast. You can leave a comment on the website, follow us on Facebook, or look for @ParisPodcast on Twitter. I put lots of information on Facebook and Twitter that never makes it into the shows. And also, this is a subliminal message. Join the mailing list. Now, today. You can do that on joinusinfriends.com. Look for the green button. Et c'est tout pour aujourd'hui.